the detective said missing kids usually come home. What happens when they don't?
Based on a true story.
Police looking for John Gacy.
We discovered bodies. By the looks of it, they're younger men.
The things he did to those kids. He's sick.
The system failed these families.
Devil in Disguise, John Wayne Gacy. Streaming now, only on Peacock.
Do you know how many there are?
Up to you to find out.
Every story you love. Every invention that moves you. Every idea you wished was yours. All began as nothing. Just a blank page with a blinking cursor. Asking a simple question. What do you see? Great ideas start on Mac. Find out more on apple.com/Mac.
I'm always looking for ways to show my cat how much I love her. And with Fancy Feast gems, I can pamper her whenever I want with a savory gravy on top of a gourmet mousse pâté. The pyramid shape makes serving simple, so all I have to do is peel and plate to make mealtime feel extra fancy. And with 2 entrees in every pack, it's easy to turn every day into the extraordinary. Fancy Feast gems.
Welcome to the Bare Naked ABCs. What, sort of? Kind of? But, well, tonight we turn the page on the podcast. Whenever we have reached the end of my page of notes, you will hear this noise. And as I was saying, we will be entering a new chapter of the podcast. Speaking of a new chapter of the podcast, Heidi, I feel like we started with the wrong song. Can you start us off with the right song now? I'll edit it in. Yes. Oh yeah, and I would always read it to my kids, and I would always do the voice. But I was referring to the old books where when you reach the end of the page on the audio book, you would hear. That will be edited in later. Oh yeah. So we're entering a new phase of the podcast where we're going to be discussing all the Stephen Page independent work. I almost said solo work, but I might slip that up every now and then, but it was not just solo work. But as you can hear, I have with me tonight Heidi. Welcome, Heidi. And joining us, I hope much more often, because she is the pop culture anthropologist and probably the biggest Stephen Page fan that I know, Allie McBride. And normally we would have Aaron and Betsy. Unfortunately, they could not make it tonight for our first podcast, but they will be back soon. Hopefully that wasn't too much of an intro that will give you whiplash, because tonight we're going to be discussing the song Hit and Run, and it is from the album. What album was it? Oh, yes, the Vanity Project. It's funny because when you look on like Kubas or you look on Spotify, sometimes it actually doesn't list it as Stephen Page. It lists it as The Vanity Project as the artist. Do you think so? I don't know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, not this song, but we will get to one of the songs. I don't know. I felt that it didn't. I felt it was very much. I don't know. I felt it was very much Page and Duffy, and I think along with like what Ali was saying, a lot of the earlier B&L stuff, especially like maybe you should drive to Maroon, had a lot of Page Duffy collaborations, and so it had those feels. But I felt like there were B&L pieces being like there were musicality notes that Ed and Jim and Kevin would bring to it that didn't feel like it was there. And so it felt different for me. And oh, ow. I'm just I feel like the Howard Wolowitz of the group. I only have a master's. This isn't fair. Yeah, I feel like there is an like a complete opposite direction when it comes to the two, and so the people who don't know, we've switched from recording on Zoom, and we have switched over to recording on Gigaverse.com now. By the way, we do have our own page on Gigaverse. I should let people know that. Like, so if you want to come over and watch us while we're actually recording, you are able to. Although we'll be a few episodes ahead of where you probably will be in hearing this because of the editing process. But we're recording on Gigaverse now, and it does this wonderful thing where sometimes it will show what we're saying as we're saying it, but on top of that, it will also fact check us, and it will jump up on the screen. So if we ever seem like we're like, whoa, wait, yep. It's saying that Gigaverse is an actual website. Yes. Um, it has about a 10-second delay on the fact check, so sometimes it's a little bit interesting. We'll probably get one about your penguins comment in about 2 minutes from now. Itself, it says yes, I did do in fact do fact check. Hmm. There's a lot of same. Yeah, there's not a lot of growth. Steven is constantly doing new things, and I as we get to that album, what we'll see is that there is a lot more, um, experimentation on his albums. Like with Heal Thyself, we have all kinds of different forms of music on there, and a lot of different themes versus with a lot of the BNL, and especially the last two BNL albums have been very much the same, with their sound, and that's fine. There's some people that really like that, but I will say I've been excited to get to this phase because I really like Steven's experimentation, and he doesn't always hit for me, which is kind of like what we'll have to talk about in a couple of minutes. Um, but he's always trying something new, and I always respect the trying something new. Hmm. Mm-hmm. But I think they have brand. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I feel like I feel like Ed and Steve really worked well off each other. I think they inspired each other. And I feel like they inspired each other. I feel like they really fed off each other really well and built off each other. And I feel that Steven kept doing that and kept pushing himself for whatever reason afterwards. And I feel like Ed after I feel almost like Ed when he had Steven there to challenge him, it was a challenge and it was hard. But once Steven left, he settled into what was comfortable and plays what's comfortable and what he likes. And he's okay with that. And that's okay. That's Ed. Like that's okay. That's BNL now. Steven, however, continues to be Steven, which is he is always pushing the envelope. He's always trying to go that little bit further, try something new, try something different. and I feel like Ed does not have that person and has stagnated because of that. And I see that when they're live as well, because if you watch the dynamics when Ed is on stage with the band, there's a little bit of banter, but he has no one to banter with. And there, he's up there, he's having fun, but like Kevin will try to do the banter during $1 Million, and Kevin just doesn't have banter. Like they should be calling maybe Tyler up for the banter part of that, because it's just not Kevin or Jim's forte. Steven, though, when he is doing live concert, he will still banter with Craig and Kevin, and it is really lively to watch him. And I feel like he's one of the people that really kind of pushes that envelope. And without that there, that's why BNL is kind of stagnated a little bit. Oh, definitely. Mm. 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 Yeah. I feel I feel bad comparing the two. not because I prefer Steven's newer stuff and current performances more than BNL, but because they are so entirely different. It's like two brothers that have grown in completely different directions, and it doesn't feel right to compare them because they are two different, completely different people that had this maybe same starting off point, but they are in completely different spheres of their lives. They do. Mm-hmm. And they could have still kept playing their older hits and things. But and I get they're trying to keep their fan base and continuing to go. And Stephen, when he first started out on his solo journey, was like Stephen Page, formerly of Bare Naked Ladies, because it gave him that little jumping off point. But again, he has grown past that at that point, and he no longer announces himself or wants other people to announce him that way. And I respect him for that because he is his own self at this point. Yeah. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like they went in completely. Again, I feel like this is kind of why the split happened, more so than the event that everyone always refers to. There was a lot of stuff that happened long before the bust that that kind of was what everyone saw as the reason for a breakup. But there were a lot of other reasons that the band broke up and that Steven left. And I think the biggest thing is they had very different trajectories as to where they wanted to go with their music and with what they wanted to present to people and get out there. And I feel like they've each gone in the direction they wanted to go. I think B&L very much wanted to continue doing pop, continue doing the bigger shows, continue doing the, like, if people want to meet us, they can, but they're going to have to pay kind of thing, and going the pop music route. Versus Steven, I think, and I have nothing to support this part of it, but I think that when they did the Everything to Everyone tour, where they did the what was the name of that tour, Heidi? If you happen to remember it, it was the one with Alanis Morissette, but I can't remember the name of it, but they wasn't that one? It was the one before the Au Natural, where they did the very small venues. Um, Peep Show, yes, thank you. I feel like when they did the Peep Show tour, that Steven was like, "This is what I want. This is what I like. Let's get back with the people. Let's get down on the levels." And then he did a lot of like borders. So when he did this album, getting back to this album a little bit, um, when he did this album, he did individual tour and did acoustic covers of almost all of these songs. Again, like this is about the time they were doing the Peep Show tour again. All very small venues, going to borders, going to bookstores, and just doing very small shows to promote this album in order to drum it up, rather than saying I'm Stephen Page from B&L. He was like, no, this is the Vanity Project, and maybe that's why he referred to this as the Vanity Project and not as Stephen Page, is because he wanted to give it a chance to live on its own. But I feel like he was like, no, I want to get back to that small, close, intimate space with my people, and he still does that to this day. And when he did Live from Home, like that is a completely different venue than what B&L did, which is they did I can't think of the name of them now, but the videos that they would record. They would do re-records of their videos of them playing from home. Steven was like, no, I'm gonna do small venue live from home things where you can watch me and engage with me over Zoom. And it was much more intimate again. And even though there were thousands of people on those first ones, he was still engaging with people. He was turning the cameras, he was switching the pages to see people, he was calling people out and interacting with them. Oh, that would be good. We probably should. Yeah. I know that. Well, we turned the page. We did something different. Yeah. We got to kind of describe why we're here and give a good baseline. And I should mention, we will be going as we do this. I know with Bare Naked ABCs, we did it alphabetically, thus the Bare Naked ABCs format. But per Betsy's request, we are doing this based on the album from first song to last song on the album, and then album to album chronologically. So it will be a little bit different. And as we mentioned, this song is the first one off from the Vanity Project, which was while he was still with B&L. It was just his solo project while he was with, not solo, individual project while he was with B&L. Because yes, he wrote this with Stephen Duffy. And tonight's song that we haven't even started talking about yet, but we will, is Hit and Run. If you have never heard this song before, here is a quick snippet. Um, he's only played this song live 15 times. Most of them live from home. And here's the interesting thing. Like we were just talking a minute ago, like you would think, oh, 2005, that must be when he wrote this song, or just before that, like when he was recording. No, he the first time he recorded this, or sorry, first time he played this live was in 2003 in New York City. So he had this in the bank for a little while at that point. Mm. Um 24. I had to do my math. You're an English teacher, it's okay. So let's talk a little bit about this song. I thought it almost sounded like the way that he is either doubling himself over in this song, or maybe Stephen Duffy is doing backing vocals on this song. I wasn't sure because it doesn't split it out separately on the album. It sounds almost like he's being backed by Kevin Hearn. I know he's not, because that's not the song that Kevin wrote on. But it had that Kevin Hearn type quality and timbre in the background. This is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I don't like the vocal effect. I've I've heard the rumors. I just didn't know if it is more than rumor. Yay! I've been waiting to hear from more Stephen Duffy Page. I think this song is why I didn't listen to much of the album when it first came out. I I think the electronic voice really threw me off and gave me a bad taste in my mouth to begin with. And so I was like, oh, this isn't the stuff I come to Stephen Page for, and it just set me up to not like it. I Having listened to the rest of this album since then, since the breakup, and having gotten over my very judgmental thoughts and feelings after the breakup, and put all that aside. I will say I liked the rest of the album a lot more. This song, though, I think really drove me away. Hmm. Well, very much like Stefan, there are times that I'm very particular with my music, and so if something hits me wrong, then it just hits me wrong. Um, and Steven can't account for that. He's going to make the music that he is making for him, and I'm not saying it was a bad choice. I'm just saying it didn't work for me. I mean, it will affect my score, of course, because it's me and my personal number. But at the same time, I don't feel like it was badly written or a bad choice per se. I think that he had a reason for doing it, and your reason that you listed for him for doing it makes sense. It just didn't work for me. Well, one was a financial report, but there was also another one that was like events. I mean, do we know what this song? Later. Fact check. When was Occupy Wall Street? Well, there were a lot of songs that he wrote at this time about. I have to. So this is the album that I can't find my copy of in all of wonderful, my wonderful pile of BNL slash Stephen Page slash and Cregan Brothers and Hearn piles that I have up here. It's the one album I cannot find the physical copy, couldn't so I couldn't pull it out to look and see if that was just bad translation on the web or if that was in fact the way that it was written in the liner notes. Right. Right. I know. I have this album on order to arrive at some point. It's just a matter of when it will get. Yes. Yeah, you want to give us a breakdown? Mm-hmm. Well, and to kind of build on that, Heidi, the one of the ways that I listened to this over the last few weeks is I had it on repeat. And the interesting thing, I mean, you don't get this with very many songs out there. I cannot tell where the end of the song was and the beginning of the song was when it was hit on loop, because the end of it really completely blends into that, where it ends and where it begins goes. There is no delineated line. Yeah, but it is a perfect blend from the end of the song to the beginning. Like there's no changes of key. Like the way that they end that song leads directly into the first. I don't know what the song is about though. That really bugs me. Because some of like Steven has this most of the time is poetic, but he you know what he's kind of hammering away at. And like with like helicopters, love it. Know exactly where he's going with it. It's a story song. Same thing with sell. And there are a number of protest slash political songs that are on E2E that again, like I know exactly where he's going. I've been trying to all week. Mhm. 2005. Yeah, 2003 he wrote it. So. Mhm. You mean if you have like bone spurs or something? Okay, go ahead. You Mhm. and and as you were saying, Heidi, though, Bush was a veteran, but Bush was a veteran that went to a camp that he never really saw active duty. So if you're the chosen son, you don't even need a gun. Hmm. So it's a long. I was just going to say that. Thank you. The poor and black. The poor and black all need room and board. No. And Stephen was extremely critical of the Bush administration at this time. I mean, BNL as a whole, but Stephen was a much bigger force about writing songs about it. That was critical of the Bush administration, and one of the big controversies was that George W. Bush was in the military, but never left Texas, was always in Houston, didn't go to Vietnam. Um, he never saw the front lines. And so that, whether it was true or not, that was the big controversy that was going around at the time. And one of the big things that they kept slapping him with and in the news was like, hey, you don't, you're doing all these wars and you've never even seen combat. And it was one of those big big controversies twice. I was going to say, don't start rating them, please. We don't need to get into that. But yeah, I mean, I think I see where you're going. That this is a very much a um, political song. Yeah, I can see that. And I was okay. Go ahead. So I have to say, like, this discussion has made me like this song more. Um, by the way, I was looking it up, and Hit and Run, when talking about Iraq, specifically in 2003, usually referred to guerrilla tactics that the Iraqi paramilitaries were using at that time. It was a common phrase. So and again, we know Stephen likes to play on a phrase, and so I could very much see him taking that and then also being like, well, that also applies to this other thing, and it applies to how I feel about the music industry, and it applies to, and making this like, and that's why he made it very vague, is because he's like, well, because it applies to all these different things, by staying vague and poetic, I'm making a statement about several different things all at once. Well, you know what I love? No, no, no. I love putting numbers to this. Yes, I love to put numbers to it. I'm going to simplify our process a little bit, though, because we've been doing 0 to 5, and I want to challenge us a little bit, because I think 0 to 5 simplifies it a little too much. I want to do 0 to 10. I want to spread it out, give people a little bit more chance to get those in between numbers. Um, so we'll do 0 to 10. We'll spread our wings and fly a little bit here. Um, Zero, of course, is where we wish that the song was erased from existence, never again ever heard. 10 would be it is on our island playlist, and then of course anything in between. Before our midpoint was 2.5 for an average song, it's now a 5. I think that explains a little bit better everything. Heidi, would you like to start us off? Okay. I was going to say that does not add up math wise, Heidi. And And this is why I decided that we would go to a 10-point scale. What about this week's song, though? Okay, 7.5. That's fair. I keep bouncing. And so I'm going to highlight this with yellow to come back to in the future and see if I change my mind, because I might. But I think for now, because it's already changed considerably from earlier. When I first came on tonight, it was going to be a 5. Knowing what the lyrics mean, I definitely has increased the score. And that chorus really does catch. And having listened to this song 50 times over the last 3 weeks, I'm not kidding. I really did, because I wanted to dig into what the song meant, and still couldn't figure it out. Sometimes I'm just not there. The beginning of the song grew on me a little bit, but even then didn't quite like that electronic. But not knowing what it meant really was driving me more insane. Now that I understand the song, it has improved my score, but I still don't like that electronic sound that he's added to the voice, even though I know what it's for. So I'm going to give it a 6.5. I know it's not the best song. I mean, it's not the best score, but it's not a Wilted Rose either. It's kind of in between. Oh, that's right. That's next week's song. Yes. Well, Allie, it has been wonderful having you join us. I am really glad to have a Stephen Page deep well of knowledge joining our group. It is amazing. Thank you so much. That's my line. Now I got to come up with a good ending line for the new pod for saying goodbye. I don't know what to say, Stephen Page wise. Oh, there we go. Ding. That's all. That's all. Have a great night, everyone.